Matt, can you tell us what brought you here to this for this occasion?
Well, I came here to join Bobby Reynolds in putting together, this is the last 10-in-1 sideshow in the United States, doing its final engagement here at MICA. And so I came here to help Bobby Reynolds out with the show, working as the show manager and doing some of the performing here. And so that's basically why I'm here.
How long have you been a performer?
I've been doing this on and off. I've been doing it professionally for about 5 years.
But how long have you been a fan of this kind of thing?
Oh, pretty much my whole life, and that's kind of how I got into the performing. It was a backhanded thing. I never really intended to do this. I've just been such a fan for so long, and then Bobby needed somebody to perform for some events, basically just to get on television and stuff to promote the shows, and so I was around and I started doing it.
So with this, when you said this is one of the last times and this is the last occasion...
Oh no, this is the last time. This is it. It's all over. After we're done here at MICA, this is it. The very last 10-in-1 sideshow under a tent in the United States, doing its very final engagement. So
it's pretty historic to be here then?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
And so did you travel around to perform? Or you travel around the country to performing?
Yeah, we've performed around, Bobby's done like the State Fair Circus, worked Coney Island, and yeah, just several, mostly up and down the East Coast is where we've been doing shows. And he also does some stuff in California though. He's got other shows that he sends out on the road besides his 10-in-1 sideshow. He's got grind shows that he sends out, like the Two-Headed Baby Show, the Giant Killer Rat, and he's got several shows like that. He was partners in a show where a guy, what he does is he had a giant frozen whale in a truck, and people would walk through and take a look at this whale. So he's had all kinds of different shows over the years.
And you've worked with Bobby on the road?
Yeah, I have.
Is that why so this is here to kind of pay tribute to Bobby?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, last chance to get together and cut up jackpots and, you know, just get together and have a good time and hopefully shock and amaze a few people.
So tell us about being on the road with Bobby. What was that like?
You know, Bobby is one of my all-time favorite people in the world. It really is. I mean, I'll give you a good example of what it's like being with Bobby. Is he loves going out and just meeting people, and so we go around to little shops and stuff like that wherever we go, and I love doing that with him. One time we went to this little, it was a secondhand clothing store, and so the two of us are together, and I walked away from him for like 30 seconds, and I came back, and every single person in the store is gathered around him in
Let's see, let me tell you a story. One time I went into a store, and...
You said Bobby was...
Let me tell you a story.
Okay. Well, let me just tell you a little story to give you an example. One time, Bobby and we went together to this little secondhand clothing store, and I walk away from him for like just 30 seconds, and I come back, and when I come back, every single person in the store is gathered around him in rapt attention, and he's just, you know, he's on, and that's just the way Bobby is all the time. Another example, yesterday, right across the street, there's a private party at this restaurant. Bobby goes over there to the private party. The next thing we know, we got a tent full of people, because, you know, there weren't enough people here to appease Bobby, so he went over and he brought a crowd with him. And that's just the kind of guy he is. He's like, he has this magnetism about him that he's just able to draw people around him everywhere that he goes.
So, thanks. Thank you, sir. Did the stuff, as far as being a part of the sideshow, is this a real honor? I mean, is there a tradition here that you're trying to maintain? I mean, as far as the future of sideshow, what can you say to that?
Well, I think the future sideshow nowadays, I mean, actually the future sideshow is, it shows like Jerry Springer is what's happened. You know, it's bastardized and it's turned into something else entirely. The future of tented sideshows, like I said, there isn't one. It's over now. And it's really a shame, because the intimacy that is integral in being in a show of this sort. You know, a lot of times you're playing for 40 or 50 people, and they're right up close, they can see you right up close, and you miss out on a lot when you're seeing things on television that it's never going to be recaptured. You know, once this is over and done with, and it is after this week, you know, there really is a part of Americana that just will never be recreated again. But as far as the future of sideshow, there's plenty of performers out there now. There's been a real resurgence of interest in sideshow, and there are some major stars that have appeared, like Harley Newman and Todd Robbins. And those guys, though, nowadays they're playing more nightclubs and venues like that. Sometimes they're playing on rock and roll tours and things like that. But the tented sideshows, they really are. It's just all over and done with, and it's really a shame. I'm really going to miss it.
What is a 10 and 1? Can you describe what a 10 and 1 is?
A 10 and 1 sideshow, it's because of the fact that there would be 10 acts in one tent at the same time. But that's a loose term because it could be 13 acts, it could be 7 acts, but it would still be called a 10 and 1 sideshow. And they would have things like, usually there would be a magician, and the magician, he would be the first act. The crowd would come in, and the magician would do his shtick until they got everybody into the tent. And so that way, it was easy for the magician to, you know, he could do 2 or 3 tricks, or he could do 5 or 6. It depends on just how many people they're trying to get into the tent. And then he would usually be the guy that was the inside talker. There was an outside talker, he'd get you into the tent, and then there was an inside talker. That would usually be the magician, and then he would go around and he would introduce the different acts in the tent to you. You know, there might be people with physical abnormalities, like the fat lady or the world's tallest man or things like that. And then there would be people that would do different stunts like sword swallowing, fire eating, and things like that. And like I said, the inside talker would take you around the tent and he would introduce each one of these acts to you, and then they made very little money doing this, and a lot of times the only way those people made enough money to eat dinner that night was they'd do what they call dinging you. They get you for a little more money. Like the fat lady would sell you a little booklet with the story of her life, or the giant would sell you a giant ring finger, you know, that was big enough to fit his finger. And so there was always something like that going on. And then they would also do a ding. There would be an additional item in the tent that you would pay extra money to see. Classic would be the blade box illusion, or a 2-headed baby, or something like that. But it would be something that once you came into the tent, you know, they've already gotten their 25 cents, whatever they got out of you to get you into the tent. Now they're going to get you for another dime. And so that was part of the tradition of sideshows too, is the ding.